AT&T's outside counsel is Daniel Petrocelli, and he is here at Post 9. Nice to have you.
Nice to be here.
Thank you for being with us. All right, yesterday in their 23-page complaint, the government makes a number of key assertions. After the merger, this company will have the power to make its video distributor rivals less competitive by raising their costs, resulting in even higher monthly bills for American family. It would also enable the merged firm to hinder the growth of online distributors that it views as a threat to a traditional pay TV model. Why is that not the case?
Well, the good news is that the government's going to have to prove all of that in the court of law. They have the burden of proof. This is a burden that they have not been able to prove in a half a century. The last time they won one of these vertical merger cases, Richard Nixon was president. Before he was nominated to lead the antitrust division, Makin Delrahim publicly commented about this vertical merger, and he said it should not pose a major antitrust problem. And the reality is he was absolutely right. It doesn't pose any problem whatsoever. The government's relying on some computer models to try to simulate what will happen, but the facts are that you could not have a more vibrant competitive landscape than we have today. And if anything, this merger is going to cause people's cable bills or their TV bills to go down, not up. And so they can say it in the lawsuit, but proving it is a different thing. And I've had the benefit of representing both AT&T and Time Warner over the course of the past year. I've seen 25 million pages of documents produced.
I assume you haven't read all of them.
I've read not all of them, but enough of them. But I've sat through days and days and days of testimony by senior executives from both companies explaining in detail to the Department of Justice every aspect of this merger. And I can tell you, there is no credible evidence that this merger is going to harm consumers or harm competition.
So when the DOJ cites documents along the lines of one that they say from the Turner CEO stating that Turner has leverage over Dish, of course, the other satellite, direct broadcast satellite company, who also has Sling TV, and they say Sling TV would be, quote, and I don't know, can we curse? Crap. Let's just go with crap without Turner. What do you say?
Well, the DOJ has picked out a handful of emails from 25 million pages of documents. And the reality is, in these negotiations between programmers and affiliates, there's a lot of posturing, but the proof is in the pudding. There are very few blackouts in this business, and when they do occur, they occur for a very, very short time. And in today's world, consumers have so many options. If they don't like somebody's program, they can go over the top. They can go to all of these new services through the internet. A perfect example, for example, that puts a real bullet in the government's theory is what happened with Google YouTube. They launched a new live channel service, and they didn't include any of the Turner networks in that service.
Well, to the extent that the key point in the argument on both sides comes back to sort of providing economic support for the thesis that says the loss of licensing and advertising revenues on the content side would be effectively offset by revenues from some of the competitors' subscribers switching to AT&T. Can you guys make that argument? I guess you just have to respond to the government's argument, the counter argument.
Yeah, I mean, it's frankly foolishness.
What's foolishness?
Because people have so many options with respect to their television service. We're no longer couch potatoes. We're no longer glued to the TV.
But what if I want to watch my NCAA games, you know?
Well,
and it's March Madness, and I can't get my Turner.
Well, you can go to CBS Access if you want, but there are a lot of options to get all kinds of programming these days. And here's the thing. The goal in entertainment, the goal of this show, the goal of any show is to maximize viewership and distribution. Why in the world would AT&T purchase Time Warner to restrict viewership, to restrict distribution.
Well, only if it thought it could get a lot more of people to subscribe to AT&T Wireless.
The problem with that theory is it does not work. You would have to lose so many subscribers, and they would all have to go to one service, i.e. DirecTV, in order to make up for the immediate and substantial loss of revenues, of advertising revenues. The whole theory makes no sense. This is a classic vertical merger. These are efficient transactions. No competitor is being eliminated. That's why Makan Delrahim commented before he got into this job that there should be no problem
that
with
was a Canadian
merger.
business network broadcast since 2016. Now, he said it was taken out of context, that we didn't all include his sentences that came later, and that he did make allowances for certain deals.
Nothing has changed in this deal from the time he made those remarks until today.
All right, when you mentioned Alphabet, okay, so Alphabet's watching this. AT&T walks away. Alphabet buys it. Alphabet, Google has YouTube. Now they have this. They have all sorts of sports locked up. Justice Department fine with it?
Well, that's an important point, because a transaction like this allows the combined company to compete with internet giants who are dominating the world of digital advertising and now moving into TV programming and TV videos as well, with their advertising and the enormous data that they have. So this allows Time Warner to hook up with the data that AT&T has and to use all of that information to give consumers a better product, one that is more innovative, one that's more customized, and that's the world today.
Let's talk about whether or not you think this is politically motivated. Stevenson was asked about it yesterday. He said about CNN. Frankly, I don't know. Nobody should be surprised that the question keeps coming up. What do you think? And do you think discovery will bring us communication between the White House and DOJ that bears that out?
So here's the deal on that. We simply don't know. We don't know what was said, by whom, to whom, when. In my experience, things have a way of coming out in the course of litigation. So if there's anything there, it'll probably unfold and probably won't bode well for the government's case.
Will you go down that road?
Don't know yet. We'll have to see how the events unfold.
How do you come to a decision whether to pursue that as a line?
Well, we don't have to pursue this, okay? The government has the burden. We don't have to put on a defense. But when we start getting into discovery, if we see any signs or indications that something was awry, then we may have to pursue it. But right now, I haven't even had a chance to completely study the complaint. Early stages, we'll figure it out sooner than later.
Can you help our viewers understand what awry would mean?
Well, if there was any kind of inappropriate motivation on the part of the Department of Justice in bringing this case.
Right.
Like, for example, there was the Comcast-NBCU merger, which posed way more difficult challenges in this merger. Yeah. That was cleared with conditions that the company has had no problem agreeing to. But for whatever reason, inexplicably in my view, all suggestions have been rejected.
Now, we should add that the DOJ officials say there was absolutely no contact whatsoever with the White House, no influence on their decision to bring this case.
And right now, we don't know otherwise.
Could this be, you hear about fake news, is this fake doctrine?
Well, someone might call it fake antitrust.
Yes, well, I'll call it that. You're afraid to?
Well, no, I mean, look, we feel extremely strong about our position in this case. Yeah. The facts support it. The evidence supports it. The law supports it. We don't understand why this enormously helpful transaction to consumers is being denied by the government and forcing us to now go into court to vindicate our position.
Because for all we know, Time Warner, left by its own devices, could very quickly devolve. I mean, you need to have huge scale. I worry about CBS all the time at $22 billion. Well, they don't have the scale.
We talked a lot about scale. We only have you for another minute here, so a few quick questions here. Any chance this gets moved from D.C. to Texas?
I don't think so.
Okay.
I mean, we want to go to court as soon as possible.
That was my other question.
Yes, we want
Timeline.
an early trial date on this. It should take no more than about 60 days. The government's been looking at this deal for over a year. They filed a lawsuit, and now they have to be ready to prove that lawsuit.
You have no idea which judge you're going to get yet. When do we find that out?
Does it even
I
matter?
find out today. Just
Does
don't
it
know.
even matter? There isn't a judge. I took Phil Arita, not that he the late Phil. I mean, honest to God, I don't know an ounce of doctrine that supports them.
Finally, settlement is always a possibility, I would assume.
Well, the company has been open since day one, including conditions that were agreed to on the Comcast-NBCU merger. So we don't know why we're in this position, but here we are, and all we can say is that we're going to defend this case, and we expect to win it.
Daniel
There you go.
Petrocelli, thank you.
Hey there, thanks for checking out CNBC on YouTube. Be sure to subscribe to stay up to date on all of the day's biggest stories. You can also click on any of the videos around me to watch the latest from CNBC. Thanks for watching.